Hey everybody, what's going on? Your host LovelyCheesePizza here. I'm so tired right now. Oh my god. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush on this. I'm resorting to RC Cola right now because I'm in dire need of it. Oh, sugar. Oh god, it's incredible. Like, I'm so far beyond or below the acceptable level of being tired right now, despite the fact that it's literally just a little bit past 10 o'clock. Like, I'm physically struggling to keep my eyes open while playing video games, if that really nails it home for you. So I'm going to try my very best tonight to hold it together as I welcome you back to another episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. To put it into perspective for you, I may or may not have gone to bed at 5:30 this morning. That is 100% true, so that'll probably even out all the perspective you need in order to, draw your own conclusion in the coloring section of the highlights magazine of my life over the last 36 hours. But just in case you were looking for some additional insight in order for you to cobble together the remainder of the story without stressing your brain too much due to me not providing you with adequate information upon which I shall, finish the connect the dots scenario of that story so that you may go on with your lives. The chest! Oh damn it, I don't have the key for this thing. Ah, shit. I will say one thing about this chest, though. This chest, for all intents and purposes, may be the best located chest in this game, in terms of strategic placement. You think about so many of the other ones, and I think I've already gone over this before, but they'll just put the fucking thing, like, right out in open sight for you, in, like, just like a main room. And they're just like, hey, look at here, it's the second most important item in the game. And all you gotta do is just go find the key and you're good to go. But whoever the saint of a human being that designed this dungeon was like, hey, I got the idea. We'll get a load of this. We're going to put the chest in a room that has a corridor of tiles that fall into this void of obscurity, you see. But if they can pass through that, in order to access the chest, they have to go into the adjacent room, navigate through the darkness, and the only way they can even access the balcony in which the chest is located on is by putting an explosive by the wall, that they don't even know where it is, by the way. They need to put an explosive there in order to blow the wall open so that they can access the chest, but only then will they realize that they still have to get the key for it, which is also located in a particularly interesting place, if I remember correctly. We'll get around to that in a minute. But yeah, so like that person, that is genius. That is a wonderful design tactic for, hiding the stuff that you need to hide. It's great. So, they need to have like some sort of like award ceremony for this person. They end up doing like a 30 for 30 on ESPN where they're like, yeah, this isn't even our craft, but we're doing today. We're gonna do a little mini documentary on the awarding of dungeon design to Keith Curmudgeon, Buckingham Palace, Carlisle, hashtag Jumanji Nichols. That was a train wreck of a name, by the way. Imagine trying to fill that shit in on a Scantron paper. That would be awful. They'll also probably be good enough to get you into the Guinness Book of World Records, since they'll make one for anything anymore. But for having the first name in the history of the world to contain both a hyphenated last name, also with a hashtag last name. And, so it'd be definitely a world first, which would be pretty interesting, but, I don't know, dude, this thing's going off the rails so fast right now, I can't even explain it to you. So that's what that is. Anywho, for those of you that are wondering exactly why it is that I, got in so late last night, I had the opportunity of going up to Seattle again for the second time in 5 days, actually, which is crazy for me, because I normally don't go up to Washington that much at all. Oh, damn it. Oh, I totally forgot to go get the key. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. I'm sorry. We'll go figure it out. I'm so scatterbrained right now. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I got to go up to Seattle for the second time in 5 days, which is crazy because I just never go up to Washington that much, and now I've been there 2 times in a calendar week. It's ridiculous. But I went up there with my friend Matt to go see the Kanye West show at the Key Arena, which you guys can form whatever opinion you want about Kanye West. I totally understand it. You know, a lot of people really don't like him based off of his opinions, or just simply not liking his music, or whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat and, you know, makes you know, applies your Flex Seal to your canoe or whatever. But for me, I particularly enjoy him a lot. I haven't really listened to a lot of his newer music because it's a sound that doesn't really appeal much to me. But I've been to like all of his major concerts over the last few years. I went to the Watch the Throne tour, of which I'm wearing the shirt right now from that. I went to the Yeezus tour a couple of years back. And now I went to this one. He's out touring for the Pablo album right now. And so I was like, you know what, dude, if it's at the Key Arena again, I really like that place. Might as well go check it out again, you know. If anything else, we can totally go to Pike Place Market while we're there, because it's like a mile away. Of which I also got to have my first experience with Uber in that whole thing. Very cool. Very cool. Very weird at the same time, by the way. The driver that we had for that was seriously like the most stereotypical like gangster Hispanic girl I've ever seen. Like, you think about how they portray that in like the movies. It's like the Hispanic girl with like long black hair, wearing like the really big hoop earrings, and she's got like the white kind of like wife beater tank top on with the red lipstick on or whatever. It was seriously that human being. I'm not even kidding. It was wait a minute. This is not. Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. I just got so confused with what I was doing. Oh no, we have the key. What the hell is wrong with me? Oh my god, I'm so backwards right now. What the? Oh boy, that was a lot. That was a very strange moment. I just totally like disconnected from my own brain. But yeah, dude, it was weird, and like it was such a weird encounter because like when we got in the car, like one of the very first things that she asked either one of us was if we smoked weed. Like, how? Like, of all the things to ask 2 random kids off the street that you picked up for a taxi ride is, do you smoke weed? Just, I don't know, it just seems a little off the rails for me. But it was cool. I mean, I definitely see the convenience in it. It's pretty awesome. Kind of expensive, though, but obviously not something you're supposed to be doing all the time. But it was pretty nifty. But yeah, we went down to Pike Place Market. It was super cool. I haven't been there in a long time, so it was a nice little experience. Got to... the only one big bummer is that they totally weren't doing like the, you know, fish throwing deal that they do at like the little fish market there. They totally weren't doing that at the time we got there. That was kind of a bummer because that was one thing I really wanted to see. I haven't seen that in a long time, and it's super cool to watch them do it. But got to check out the gum wall, which that's exactly what it sounds like. For those of you that have not had the pleasure of going to Seattle, there is like, it's like an institution apparently. I didn't really know it. I knew that it existed, but I didn't know it was like this big thing. But like in Pike Place Market, there's like a little alleyway that's like kind of down in a different area. You go over there, and it's seriously like this alley with a big brick wall that is just, it's covered just like side to side with just like stratified layers of used chewing gum. I mean, it is insane. I'll just type in a Google search for that. Just type in Seattle gum wall, and it's astonishing how much gum that is. It not only is it fascinating and awesome to look at, it is fucking disgusting. That is really, really gross. Think of like how many, probably like tons of like just saliva. Ugh. But really cool thing in general, though. We got to check out a couple of the little like specialty shops there. They had this cool little hobby shop we went into. I picked up a Dragon Ball Z manga in there. Super cool. I didn't mean to do that. So I picked that up. But they also had this insanely large wall of pops. It was crazy. Like for people that are still really into that place was the spot. They had a bunch of them. Then they also had this really cool, like, wall of, like, TV and movie scripts. I never even thought about that being, like, a thing. I didn't even know that they really just had those for sale. They totally did. They had, and like, it was all a whole bunch of really good ones too. They had like The Matrix and Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, like Shawshank Redemption, and like the pilot episode of Friends, and like The Office, and all these things. And they were super cool. I didn't have enough money to buy any of them, despite the fact that they weren't really that expensive. But it was just, I don't know. It was a really interesting thing altogether. I feel like, oh, I need to get up there. Fuck, how do I do that? How do I... Hold on a minute. I think I know how to do that. Yeah. Yeah, because we got the hammer, but we're totally going to be screwed if we don't get another key. Yeah, there's totally another key in that room that we have to get first. Okay, I'm really glad I thought of that first. But yeah, what was I even saying? I already forgot what I was doing. Oh, yeah, the whole scripts thing. Yeah, it was awesome. I was totally looking for a Home Alone one. I really wish they would have had that, man. Because if they did, I would have bought that on the spot, but they did not. And so that was a bummer, but it was cool. But at the show itself, here's one thing about Kanye's shows. Like, even if you don't like his music, I think that one thing that you could learn to appreciate about him is the way that this guy, like, creates the environment for his shows is fucking, like, rivaled by none. It is simply unbelievable the way that he builds his stages. Like, one really great example of it is for the Yeezus tour. If you want to check that out, you know, try to get some footage of his live shows from the Yeezus tour. The stage that he creates for that is unbelievable, especially for, like, hip-hop show standards. It's insane. You think of a hip-hop show, you think of a guy who's standing on stage just, you know, rapping his ass off, and you got a couple of other dudes that are kind of flying around being the hype men that are just trying to get people, you know, into it and everything. For this dude had a fucking floating stage. He was floating. I mean, not like, you know, mastering, like, magic or something, but he was on, you know, the stage that was being supported up, you know, by, like, rigging and all this stuff, and, like, the rafters and whatever. But he was, like, probably 10 or 15 feet off the ground, and he was just, like, and, like, the stage was just kind of, like, moving just across, like, the general admission area of the floor down there, which, being in the general admission area for that would have been pretty wild, because, I mean, it's just free, people are freely just moving down there, and, like, pretty much anybody that was directly under the stage at any given point, they were all moshing, which is all, it's a really, moshing has always been a weird concept for me in terms of, like, in terms of participation during concerts, because it seems like you kind of lose out, in a sense, of like, the show itself, when you're just sitting there, like, throwing your weight into people, and people end up getting, like, punched in the face, and you're, like, all bloody, and like, I don't really know where the enjoyment is for that. Like, I feel like, you know, it has its place in, you know, like, heavy metal shows where you're, you know, there watching fucking, like, Slayer or, you know, like Metallica or whatever. I feel like that's such a weird component for a rap show of all things, but people were doing it. They were really doing it. We need to catch a couple of these. Yeah, I'm keeping you in the bottle, baby. I mean, you're not a genie in a bottle, but you are a fairy in a bottle. It's close enough. But yeah, I don't know, it's a really weird component for me, but it was just crazy, because he had the floating stage, and, like, they were able to tilt it in either direction every once in a while, so you get, like, a lot closer to the people, and it was really cool. And just, like, the lighting and everything else in general was super weird. They had the fog machine going for hours in there beforehand, because it was so, like, the air was so dense in there, and, like, it was really, really dark. And, like, they had, the way that it was lit was interesting, because they had, just, like, this one really, like, it was kind of dim, but it might also have been just because of the fact that, you know, the fog machine had been on for so long, but it was, like, this blood orange colored light, and so, like, you couldn't, it obscured him just enough to where, like, you could never at any time really have, like, an extremely clear view of him, and, like, even on, like, the scoreboard, like, you know, the scoreboard monitors or whatever, like, they had, like, some special effects going on with that, so, like, it had, like, all these, like, I don't even know like the terms for it, but it even looked like harder to see him fully. Like he had like this glow effect going on with it. It was really cool. And then there were just like these other parts where this extra set of like lit rafters was brought down. Like it descended from like seemingly the ceiling, and they brought it down. They were just playing like this really loud audio sample while it was going, and there was like no explanation for it at all. And it just came down, and it had like all these lights going, and then all of a sudden they'd raise it back up, and then he'd come out and do another portion of the show. It was so weird. Super awesome though. But there were two things that went on, during the show that really kind of pissed me off. And one of them like wasn't the show itself. I think it didn't really piss me off. I just didn't understand. I didn't get the first one of them. It was hard to wrap my head around it, but it was weird. So when we first got to the show, like they open the doors up and they let you, go get seated early for the people that are, in general admission and that are actually in like designated seating up in the stands, which is where Matt and I were at. We were up in like the 200 level, which I think is really one of the best places to be because you get a better perspective of everything. So we went and got our seat, and we had to sit there for like an hour before the show actually started because hip-hop shows have never ever started on time in the history of the world. And so we're sitting down there, and like, I'm not kidding, for like the entirety of it, like the hour that we were sitting there, there was like this, it's really hard to try to explain it, but it was like this weird, like droning bass noise. It was just like, and like it was just doing that, but it was like even deeper than that, and it just like, it would make like your brain vibrate, and like it would almost like make it was like making like my chest twitch, like not like painfully, but it was just weird. And like they would do that for like 20 minutes, and then they would cut the sound for like 5 minutes, and then they'd bring it back in and do it for like another 10 or 15 minutes, and it was just that same noise just over and over. It was just, and oh, it was almost like they were like trying to like brainwash the crowd or something, and just like some sort of like crazy like Illuminati type thing or something, like, I will vote for Hillary Clinton. I am going to vote for Hillary Clinton. It was just like so weird, and like they did that the whole time. And so that was a really strange component of it. But the other big thing was during the show, like, it was the people that were right in front of me. And, like, I can't get too mad at them because, you're at a hip-hop show, you want to get really excited and, flail around and gyrate and do whatever, it's fine. But when you start, especially in designated seating, when you start getting so crazy that you get up into, like, other people's space, too, that's when it pisses me off. And that's totally what happened in this situation. This girl, like, in the beginning part of the show, everybody's getting super hyped up and whatever, and that's fine. But I'm sitting there, because in the beginning he was playing music that I'm not really familiar with because it's a lot of his newer stuff, and so I'm just kind of standing there, just kind of taking it all in with my arms crossed, and this girl in front of me is just like flailing like she's being electrocuted or something, and she's just like swinging her arms in like this way that I didn't even know that human like limbs could bend that way. It was crazy. And in doing that, she like swung one of her arms right behind her, and I kid you not, she just like totally hit me without me even expecting it at all. She hit me right square in the dick, man. Oh, like 107% coverage, just right on the money. And I made like this crazy like deflating noise just because it caught me off guard, and it was so funny. I just went something like that, because dude, she was wearing a fucking ring, like a jagged ass, like having a jewel in a ring, and having that hit me right square in the doily box was just, oh boy, like it almost reduced me to my knees, which would have been equally as awful, because that would have put me in prime position to get hit directly in the face right after that. It would have been like a 2-hit combo that knocked me straight out. Luckily, did not happen, which is good. But, oh man, and so I'm sitting there like kind of reeling in pain for a while, and, you know, I finally was able to get over it, and I didn't say anything to her, like, it was kind of just in the middle of everything, it was kind of a heat-of-the-moment deal. I didn't want to, like, ruin it for her and be like, hey, don't fucking do that ever again, you know, stop flailing around like a crazy person. Because, like, you know, she's having fun, it's not like she did it on purpose, but it's just like, oh my god, you gotta take care of that area, man, that's precious cargo, you know, you can't be taking hard shots like that. But, well, look at this little guy. He's a fucking little tree man.
You're new here, aren't you? You come looking for the power of gold? Well, you're too late. The person that came in here turned me into a fucking tree. I'm in a concrete room. How am I supposed to put roots into the ground with this? It'll obey only the first person who touches it. The man who last claimed the power of gold wished for this world. It reflects his heart, and boy, his heart fucking sucks. Yes, I came here because of the greed for the golden power, and look what happened to me. To restore the golden land, a person worthy of the golden power must defeat the man who created this place. Until that time, I am stuck in this bizarre shape. What a mischievous thing to leave lying around. The power of gold. Triforce. Yes, indeed. I think we can actually charge this one. Haha, goody. But, yeah, dude. And so, after that, we ended up stopping at the casino. Because, you know, that was fully necessary. Ended up being there way longer than we had planned on. And then I ended up rolling up at home at 5:30 in the morning. So, and then I had work, you know, today as well. So I got just, like, no sleep at all. I woke up and I felt like I was so tired that I thought that I had dreamt half of the trip. And that's not a good sign to have. So it was rough times. But all in all, it was fun. So that's really the important thing. Alright, my friends, well, you know what? We're going to stop right here. I need to get something to eat because I'm draining fast right now and I still have to edit this bad boy and get it uploaded. So until then, my friends, when we come back on the next installment of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, we're going to go down to Dungeon 2 over there and see what we can get our hands on. But until then, this is your host, LovelyCheesePizza, saying thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.